Hey, Tyler Day here, back for another episode of Traffic Talk. So let's see, what are we going to be going over today? So in the past couple weeks, I have been putting some focus on running YouTube ads for our affiliate campaigns. Um, like I mentioned before, our strength as affiliates has generally been on Facebook ads. So um, we consistently do over 100, 150 grand a day on Facebook with affiliate marketing campaigns running both pay per call and lead gen campaigns for major affiliate verticals like insurance, finance, and stuff like that. So um, we're really looking at branching out to YouTube as a next major leg of our business. So YouTube is really an amazing ad platform for affiliates. So we're putting a lot of focus on scaling some of our campaigns over to YouTube. Right now, we're mostly just, we're just kind of learning the ropes on YouTube. We have some stuff that's profitable over there. So we're going to talk about sort of what the experiences have been with testing and scaling. And, what I really like about YouTube is that everything is just very smooth over there. When you have a campaign that's working, it's super easy to scale. There's lots of audience. There's like 3 billion users on Google. So it can work very, very well. And right now I'm running some pay-per-call over there on YouTube personally. So, generally I don't run a lot of ads myself. So, we have a whole team of people that run ads under our funding and under our sort of management and guidance. And usually I historically have just focused my time on just, higher level things in the business, like managing the media buying team, helping out the media buyers with whatever they might need. We have a whole second division of the business with the affiliate network. So that always keeps me plenty busy as well on that side too. But I really wanted to learn and master YouTube as a platform. So I dove in headfirst and have been running ads on YouTube personally. And I got profitable on YouTube pretty quickly. So I had somebody that was guiding me on YouTube, somebody that mentored me a bit and showed me kind of the do's and don'ts of getting YouTube working. So yeah, it's been a pretty great experience. I'm really liking it so far. So in today's episode, we're going to cover that and cover a few other topics for you guys as well. So yeah, if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to put those questions in the live chat. You can just type in the live chat, and then when I finish my content, like we're going to have a whole Q&A segment per usual. So let's go ahead and dive into it. So YouTube has been really interesting. So I've really gotten my hands dirty with this YouTube platform in the past couple weeks, and I've gotten some really interesting findings. So the first thing that I found with YouTube is that just like when you're running Facebook ads, YouTube will have good and bad days. So, overall the ROI has been pretty consistent, but there's been like 1 or 2 days in the past couple weeks where the results have just been like terrible on YouTube, right? And sometimes you see this on Facebook as well, where the campaigns can be kind of up and down. I've definitely noticed that YouTube has been more stable than Facebook with the results, but there's been certain days where the numbers have just been off, or YouTube has like not spent the full budget, or sometimes weird stuff like that. So basically, the way that I was instructed to look at YouTube is to not look at your data like on a 1-day time frame, which and instead look at it over like a 3 to 5 day aggregate window, which is actually the way that I like to think about Facebook too. But yeah, you don't really want to be making decisions just on 1 day's worth of data, especially if you're just in the testing phase. And even when you're running at scale, like if you're running something and it's doing well for like a week and then you have one bad day, you don't really want to kill the whole campaign over just one day of bad data. So looking at your data over like 3 to 5 day aggregate windows is really the best bet. So what I've noticed is that you'll set a budget on YouTube, and some days we'll underspend on the budget, and some days we'll overspend. So what happens on YouTube when you set a daily budget is that Facebook basically multiplies that budget times 30 to look at like a 30-day monthly average as far as how much the campaign will spend on a month. And depending on how the results are doing that day, some days it might throttle the budget, some days it might hold back some budget, but over like a 30-day average, it should spend exactly how much that you've budgeted out on your daily budget times 30. So, once you have something working on YouTube, it's best to just kind of let the campaigns run. So, it's best to just kind of let things ride if you have a good campaign. And if you're running something and you need to reduce the budget for the day, if you needed to stop running, instead of hitting the actual pause button on the campaign, you should basically just lower the daily spend budget to below what it's already spent for that day. If it's something that you continue to run, of course. If it's something that you want to completely stop, then you can pause it. But if you're running a campaign and you plan on, if it's profitable and you can't plan on keeping it running, you don't really want to be starting and stopping your campaign by like pausing or enabling the campaign. So you have two options. You can either reduce the daily spend below what it's already spent for the day to basically stop the ad spend, or you could adjust the ad schedule to basically stop running at that time. So yeah, when you're running lead gen campaigns and pay-per-call campaigns, especially with pay-per-call, the ad schedule is super important. So just in general, when we're running pay-per-call campaigns, we'll generally, we'll set up an ad schedule to start the ads at the exact time that the call center opens, but we'll usually stop the calls an hour before the call center closes. And the reason why is because basically we want to have time for these calls to like wrap up. So, if you cut the budget right at the time when a call center is closing, there's going to be tons of people that are still on the line or people that are still going to call in for the next like hour or so after you shut off your ads. So by ending your ads an hour early, you basically give yourself some breathing room for anyone that, is just about to call or might still be on the line to basically call in and get, talked to by the agents. Okay. So let's see. So when you're testing on YouTube, especially if it's a brand new account, what I do is I just start with a small budget. So usually if I'm launching a campaign and it's day one, I'll probably just launch one ad with like a 100 or 200 daily budget. So we just want to make sure that the ad isn't getting disapproved or, the clicks aren't costing like $20 a click. So, launch with just one ad. You should definitely plan on having a lot more than one ad running. Like you should plan on launching and testing dozens of ads, but on day one of testing an ad on YouTube, just start with one. And there's a few different approaches that you can take. So if you're running a campaign that's very, very broad, you can actually just, do broad targeting, which is what I like to do. So for the insurance campaign that I'm running on YouTube, basically I have my age range set from like 25 to 25 plus. It's super, super broad, and I'm not doing any sort of like keyword targeting or topic targeting because this insurance campaign is so broad that like half of people in the country could like potentially qualify for this offer. So if you're running a broad campaign like that, like starting with broad targeting is definitely a good bet. And the goal is to basically let the pixel do the heavy lifting as far as finding the right people to target. Um, and, on day one, the results may not be that great. So sometimes Google does need like a couple weeks to really dial in the pixel, especially if you're just running like a low budget, like $100 or $200 a day. But as soon as I see my results are at least break even, I'll definitely ramp the budget like as much as possible. So even if I'm breaking even, I'll probably ramp the budget to fill the entire cap on the offer, whatever the cap is, because I want to get as much data as I possibly can. And even if I'm breaking even and filling the cap and collecting that pixel data, I know that over time, the ROI will improve significantly, to where I'm probably going to be profitable after I get enough pixel data. So if you're at a loss, that's a different story. Like it might be an issue with your ad or your lander. So you're going to need to keep the budget low while you sort of like figure out where the weakest link is and start to improve things. Um, and then it's up to you, like how much you want to spend on testing if you're at a loss. So um, it really depends on kind of what ROI you're seeing. But, if you're spending $200 a day and losing like 90% of your ad spend, I would keep the budget low and just like keep testing, like, find out what the issue is, whether it be your ad or your lander, and just, focus on testing more until you see the results improve. Um, yeah, and then if the ROI isn't that bad, you might, let's say that you're spending 200 a day and earning back like 150, then maybe you can launch like much more higher volume of tests, like launch those 10 ads, spend like $1,000, see what works and what doesn't, so on and so forth. So um, let's see. So some people that run YouTube ads, including the mentor that was instructing me on YouTube a couple weeks ago, some people like to start running with a target CPA setting. So basically telling Google what CPA you want to acquire at, and Google will either spend if it thinks that it can acquire, or it won't spend the budget if it doesn't think that it can acquire within your target CPA. So some people like to do this method of basically setting a high target CPA at first, like 2 or 3 times the offer CPA, and then walking it back down once conversions start to come in. So honestly, there's 2 different methods to go. So you can either start out with going target CPA, or you can start out by maximizing the conversions, so bidding for max conversions. And lately, I've been having better results just going for max conversions. So some people that run YouTube ads will say this is a big no-no and that you'll get taken to the cleaners by starting out with max conversions. But I've been seeing pretty good results by just starting out with max conversions, just letting YouTube acquire the conversions at whatever cost they're going to get acquired at, and just kind of letting it rip. So, I've got a campaign that I'm profitable on right now that's doing pretty good ROI, and I just started it off with max conversions. So I think that, I don't know, I got to see how that kind of continues to hold up and do more testing versus, running something with a target CPA. But the issue with the target CPA is that, the start to your campaign could be really slow. If Google doesn't think that it can really acquire your leads at the target CPA that you spend, it might not spend any money. And then you got to spend days like walking up the target CPA every day until it starts to spend, and then walking it back down. And, that can take a lot of time. So I've been personally just preferring to set the objective for max conversions and just sort of letting it rip. So, um, so when it going back to the targeting, so I always prefer to run broad targeting, and this is true for Facebook too, where the more narrow that you set your targeting, the less you'll be able to spend, and the higher your costs are going to be. So on Google, like going narrow would be like, doing a keyword campaign, for example, where your ads will only get served to people that are searching or looking for like specific keywords. On Facebook, it would be more like interests, like layering interests. the more that you do, the more that your ads are going to cost. So ideally, you want to just start out running broad, and even if you lose some money at first, you should, work on dialing in and training your pixel to find the right people with just a very, very broad demographic. So ideally, you want to run max conversions, no targeting, and just set age demographics, or um, something like that. So let's see. So also for YouTube, and this is also true for Facebook too. And I've said this before, but you want to start by testing one aspect of the campaign at a time. So, for example, start with just one ad and one lander, and only test audiences at first until you narrow down the best audience, whether it be age demographics, or if you want to test, if you're running a more niche specific campaign and you want to test keyword targeting or topic targeting, um, just figure out like what is going to look the best and start with one thing. And it doesn't have to be the audience. You can start, um, basically you want to focus on testing one thing at a time. So if you're running a campaign and you're testing 3 different audiences, running to 3 different ads, running to 3 different landers, the data is going to get pretty muddled because all these different things like affect conversion rates of the other things, and you're not really going to be able to get a clear read on what's going on unless you isolate out these tests. Okay, so yeah, basically just focus on things one at a time, and then try to identify where the weakest link is. And there's no set rule like start by only testing audiences or only testing ads or only testing landers. Um, yeah, just launch like one ad, one lander, one audience, and just try to identify like where the weakest link is. Like, are your is your ad getting a terrible click-through rate? Is your lander click-through rate terrible? Is the CPM really high on the audience that you're running? So once you find the weakest link, then you can focus on testing that one thing. And when you've really improved that one aspect of the campaign, whether it be the ad, land, or the audience, there's really only those 3 things. Then you can move on to the next thing. So once you find the best audience, then you can go dive in deep and test a bunch of landers, or dive in and test a bunch of ads. So yeah, that's the way that I think about it with Facebook too. So you never want to get like too crazy with the amount of tests that you're running at the same time. It can be really, really hard to keep track of. So let's see. Some more tips for YouTube. So you want to make sure that you're excluding the Google Display Network. By default, YouTube serves the traffic to the Google Display Network, which shows the ad like all over the internet on various sites. And the quality is generally pretty bad because these aren't really like targeted, audiences, and there's not really any intent there. Like they're just on some other site, and you want to do that. You want to exclude apps. So yeah, you don't want your ad like running on a bunch of random apps. So let's see. Also, if you're running pay-per-call, you want to be running mobile only. So you need to reduce your bids minus 100% for computers, tablets, TVs, etc. And you also want to uncheck the box for optimized targeting when you're setting up your ad. So in the settings, there's this box that you can check for the campaign settings for optimized targeting. You don't want to be doing optimized targeting that's going to show your ad to all sorts of people that aren't really in the right audience. And not only that, but you'd also want to set a frequency cap in your campaign settings. So you don't want the ad just serving over and over again to the same people. So you can set a frequency cap in the settings to only 2 impressions per day per user, or 3 impressions per week per user. So if a user is seeing the ad more than twice in a day, they're probably not going to take action. If they've seen it 3 times in a week and haven't take action, they're probably not going to. So there's no point in showing it to them any more than that. So yeah, so let's see. So let's go ahead and move forward here. I do need to check on an ad campaign that I was running that might be about to hit the cap. Let's see. Sorry, guys. A lot going on at once here. I'll be right back with you here. Okay, cool. Awesome. So let's talk about some of the top opportunities right now on YouTube. So um, right now we're seeing a lot of potential with this ACA health insurance vertical. So the ACA health insurance is basically government subsidized health insurance, so Affordable Care Act health insurance. Right now, it's probably one of the top opportunities that we're seeing for paper calls. So it's where I'm seeing the biggest cap, right? So to me, the top opportunity is wherever we can get the most cap and push the most budget. And health insurance is a huge vertical for lead gen and for pay per call. Medicare is it's the off season for Medicare right now, so Medicare is going to be more big like mid October. But right now, there's a whole ton of buyer demand for this ACA health insurance. So um, we're seeing really good results with it on our end. Basically, if you want to run this ACA health insurance on YouTube, you can. I did a little like teaser tutorial about the campaign that I was running, and some people had questions about like, hey, do I need to be licensed to run this campaign? Do I need to, get licensed with Google? And traditionally, yes, you do need to get a Google license to run health insurance ads. But we found basically a way to kind of skirt around this policy. So um, it's kind of easy to get around the policy to run the health insurance ad without having to be registered and licensed with Google to run the health insurance. And basically, what we do is we change the word health insurance to health benefits on the ad text, the lander, and the root domain. So it's still okay to say health insurance in the actual video ad itself, but we found that basically by using the term health benefits instead of health insurance on the text in the ad, on your landing page, and if you have any content on your root domain, you want to make sure to leave the word health insurance off there because Google will crawl your site and categorize it as a health insurance site. But if you use the term health benefits, then they're not really going to flag it. So that's kind of an easy way to get around the policy. And worst case, they'll just disapprove the ad. So it's not like Facebook where they'll ban your whole ad account the minute that they don't like something. Usually they'll just like disapprove the ad and say, oh, this one's not approved to run because you need a license, but they're not going to like nuke your whole account or anything like that. But yeah, even in the ad script itself, we've still been saying health insurance. So, let's see. So looks like my headphones are about to die here. So sorry about that technical issue. I'm going to have to take these out and move over just to my computer mics. I don't have another mic set up right now, but I will. I'll work on improving the mic setup in future videos. I do have a professional mic. I just usually, don't bother setting it up, but I'll work on that in the future. Okay, so if you want to work on this ACA health insurance campaign, reach out to me on Skype. So my Skype address is tdayskype123. So if you're an affiliate and you want to run pay-per-call, you can run this ACA health insurance on any traffic source. So whether it be Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, we can buy your calls. So we'll issue you a dedicated phone number where you can, drive calls to the call center, and we'll pay you around, north of $30, sometimes $35, depending on the buyer, for somebody that stays on the line for a couple minutes. And we generally work with affiliates that have prior experience and track record. So if you're a brand new affiliate, if you've never ran any campaigns before, whether for lead gen or if you've ran other things like e-com and have other experience, that's fine. But if you've never really done internet marketing, this might not be for you. But if you are an affiliate and you want to work with us, I'll put a link in the description below where you can apply for our network. And so there's lots of cap for this ACA vertical. So we can take several thousand billable calls per day, which is like 50K plus in revenue. My team is working on scaling this up. So, this cap may not be available for long if our team manages to fill it all, which we most certainly might. But there's always opportunities. So we operate in lots of different verticals above and beyond health insurance. So there's other opportunities as well, even for generating leads. So for car loan, for example, we have lots of cap for car loan. And this is probably one of the easiest campaigns to make work for lead gen. So the car loan offer is just linking to a lead form. And, we've done well just direct linking on this offer on Facebook and TikTok. So, I can hook you guys up with some ad examples. Just reach out to me on Skype at tdayskype123. I can show you some ad examples both for car loan and for ACA. Okay. So next thing that I want to talk about. So some people had questions for me about their Facebook fan page being banned. So we're going to kind of pivot over and talk a little bit about Facebook now. So let's talk about that. Okay, so for Facebook, they're very finicky about these fan pages now. So we're seeing, whenever you're running a Facebook ad, it has to run from a fan page. Like you have to select a fan page, and then when you're running the ad, the fan page shows up in the ad. If you're a Facebook marketer, you already know that. But if you're running from a fan page and your fan page gets banned, basically all your ads stop, and it becomes kind of a problem that can prevent you from running any ads. And basically we've learned that the Facebook algorithm has these like specific criterias for fan pages that they want to see. And if you don't do things right, or you're not really following these criterias, they'll kind of automatically ban your fan page, which is really inconvenient if you don't know about what these criterias are. So we've done a lot of digging in the past month because this is an issue that we've ran into. So somebody on my team chatted with a rep from Facebook, and we got some clarity as far as how to think about these fan pages and, how to go about setting these fan pages up in a way that they're not going to get automatically banned. So first things first, when you're doing a fan page on Facebook, you want to have the fan page exist for 2 weeks before you run any sort of paid ad from the fan page. So if you make a fan page and then you try to run an ad the next day, you'll probably just get automatically banned. So give it a full 2 weeks. And over those 2 weeks, you want to do about 10 posts. So do about 1 post per day, Monday through Friday for 2 weeks. And other than that, you want to fill out all of the info on the fan page. So like the contact us page, the website, the information, the about us, literally everything that you want to fill out to just make the fan page look like a real legitimate business. So those are really the main two pieces. So you want to have a fan page that exists for 2 weeks. You want to have at least 10 posts on the fan page. But if you don't want to do more than that, so I would do, at most just do one post a day on the fan page. If you're doing more than one post a day, they could even flag it because of that. So I think as long as you're following those guidelines, you might still have some fan pages banned. It's sort of inevitable, but um, you know, that's sort of the best practice now for setting up fan pages. Okay. So let's see, that was sort of the core training that I had for today. Um, let's see, if anyone has any questions here, you can put them in the chat. So Jim asks, do you rent agency accounts or do you use your own? Can you tell a good place to rent agency accounts from? So yeah, so when it comes to running Google ads, you really don't need an agency account because it's so easy to make a Google account. Like all you need to do is just create a Gmail address and you're up and running with a Google account. And um, you know, it's easy to make like multiple Google accounts, and there are agency account providers out there for Google, and we've used those in the past, but it's definitely not necessary to run Google ads. And for Facebook, we have our own agency accounts, so we're like a registered agency with Facebook. So we've been using our own agency accounts, and we've rented agency accounts from other people in the past. So yeah, I mean, having agency accounts is more of an advantage on Facebook than it is on Google, because spinning up new Google accounts is just sort of as simple as like creating a new Gmail, and then maybe like remote accessing it through like a team viewer setup, so it's not all going through your own IP. On Facebook, like, since Facebook is really like more strict than Google as far as like shutting down your accounts and stuff like that, having agency accounts can be a big advantage because you can get basically an unlimited amount of accounts. You can still run into issues on Facebook even if you have agency accounts, like if a profile gets restricted from advertising, or if your fan pages are all banned. I mean, that's stuff that an agency account isn't necessarily going to fix, but an agency account does solve just like the ad account like creation aspect of it. So you definitely don't need agency accounts to run ads on Facebook. So I've covered this before in previous videos, but if you're running Facebook ads as an individual, like, you basically just need to be sure that you have like a variety of different user profiles and distributed network of profiles that you can remote access through TeamViewer that are set up at different locations, that you can basically use to have lots of accounts. So in a nutshell, how that works is like, you get somebody to agree to let you use their Facebook account. You pay them a fee to rent the account. Usually we pay like $100 or $200 a month to just let us access the Facebook account and the ad account. We'll ship a computer to that person's house and set up the TeamViewer application where we can remote access their computer at their own home that's logged into their Facebook profile and run ads, remote accessing it through a TeamViewer set up on our computer. So yeah, I mean, even if you're using agency accounts, I think you still need to do that anyway, because things can come up like, you don't see this all the time, but like entire profiles can get banned from Facebook. You could run into issues with like the fan pages. So even if you don't have, even if you are using agency accounts on Facebook, you still want to work on having this like network of user profiles. And if you don't have agency accounts, then you basically need to really be serious about getting more profiles to run your ads through. So yeah, that's always the biggest challenge with Facebook, is them just like shutting down the the fan page or banning the entire profile, which happens not often, but it can happen. And then as far as a good place to rent agency accounts from, so I'm not really at liberty to like disclose that. I think you would need to do some networking on your own to like find providers that have agency accounts that are willing to rent them. I'm just not really at liberty to like disclose who those providers are right now. Okay, so Jim asked, which conversion goal are you using? Lead conversion? Yeah, so you're using the lead conversion on YouTube. So um, for the tracking, we are basically placing our pixel on the call to action page. So for pay-per-call, we run these survey funnels where we'll have somebody click through like 3 pages of questions, like simple questions like, do you live in the United States? Like, what's your age? Stuff like that, just to get micro commitments. And then on the 3rd page, we will give them a call to action to click a button to call. And on that call to action page where they click the button to call, we'll place a conversion event. And that's basically our main objective for the campaign, is basically that outbound click on the call to action page. So yeah, you're using a lead conversion objective, optimizing for this event that you set up, and you set that up via Google Tag Manager. So there's a few different ways that you can set it up. Like you can do a JavaScript pixel or Google Tag Manager. We've been preferring Google Tag Manager. So yeah, I can definitely make a tutorial as far as like how to set up Google Tag Manager and track your campaigns in that way for pay-per-call. It's a little bit complicated. Like it's like this kind of like 15-step process, but yeah, I can put together a tutorial as far as how that works. I've put together one for Facebook previously, so yeah, I can do one for Google as well in the future. So Jim asked, do you run ads in the whole US or for state targeting? So it depends on the campaign. I mean, for pay-per-call, usually there's like specific states that you target. So, it depends on the offer that you're running. It depends on, for pay-per-call, it's usually a specific state list where you're loading that up in the targeting of the campaign settings. Sometimes there's just an exclusion list. So sometimes it runs nationwide, but you have to like exclude a handful of states. So yeah, it really depends on the offer that you're running and kind of what they want. And yeah. Richard asks, I have about 3K to start my campaign. How many ads and ad sets would you start with? Also, what would you be starting with for a daily budget? So I would say like for any traffic source, whether it be for Facebook or for Google, I would start with just like a $100 budget. I would start with just making one ad, one landing page, one ad set, and just spend like $100 and just see what happens. Like, is your ad click-through rate so bad that your clicks are costing like $30? Is your ad really good, or your clicks costing like $1, but maybe your landing page click-through rate isn't that good? So, is your audience just wrong? Like people are, clicking, but they're not really taking any action, or they're not really interested in the offer. So basically, this goes back to what I was saying earlier, but for whatever budget level you're at, whether you have $3,000 or millions of dollars, I mean, usually on day one, you just want to start with spending like a conservative amount of money, because you have no idea what's going to happen. And, you need to be able to identify what the weakest link of the campaign is so that you can improve it from there. So if you have 3K to start, I would probably just be looking at like testing things within like that $100 daily budget range, and kind of keep things at that level until you see profit. So, if you do $100 a day and you see that you're ad is so bad that the clicks are costing like $10 or something like that, then every day you should make a new ad and spend $100 a day every day on a new ad until you see that metric improve, and just kind of improve things step by step. And then when you see your click costs go down, then you can move on to the next aspect of the campaign, whether it be your lander or your audience or something like that. So um, if you had a higher budget, like you could test with more than like $100 a day, you know, but yeah, that's probably a good amount of daily budget if you're working with like a 3K ad budget. Mo asked, which platform do you use for survey funnels? So we use Unbounce, which is a pretty good tool. So it's sort of like ClickFunnels, but I think it's better for lead gen. Like ClickFunnels has all this stuff that we don't really need for lead gen, like payment processing stuff, and like it's ClickFunnels is better if you're doing like e-commerce or like selling digital products. Unbounce is better for lead gen in my opinion. Like it's got better features for lead gen, and it's super easy to make sites in Unbounce. So that's what we've been using. So Jim asks, any tips for increasing the landing page CTR? So yeah, definitely. So when it comes to the landing page CTR, there's going to be three aspects to focus on. Just on the first page. First and foremost, the most important thing of any landing page is the click-through rate of your first page of your lander. Because if somebody doesn't click through on the first page, they're not going to get to your offer, whether it be redirecting out to a lead form offer, or driving them down a survey funnel where they're clicking to call to dial into a call center. If they're not clicking through to that first page, your campaign is dead in the water. So there's really three main things that can impact the click-through rate of the first page of your lander. The first thing being your headline. So the headline that you're using is super important. The next thing that matters is your image. So if you're sometimes you can just run a simple lander that's just like goes to a headline with like a call to action button, whether it be like for a survey funnel or like for a click call to action or something like that. Basically the three aspects of a lander are your headline, your image, and your basically whatever your call to action is on the first page, whether it be just a simple question for somebody to start to enter your survey funnel, like asking them a simple question like, do you live in the US, or what's your age? Basically what headline you're using, what image you're using or subheadline, and then whatever the question is on the first page. That's going to influence the CTR the most. And I think probably the biggest needle mover out of all that is probably just the headline, because that's the first thing that somebody sees when they click on the page. And other things like the question that you're asking them in the survey might matter the least, like whether you're asking them what their age is or whether they live in the US, or whatever you're going to ask them, that probably matters the least. But the headline that's going to draw them into it matters. And then you might want to test out like a subheadline. So if you have a headline and image, and then you maybe have some text underneath the image, basically the ad copy on the first page is what you want to test. And then, what I found is that once you get somebody to just click through the first page, and once you have that momentum going, then the rest of the funnel kind of falls into place. And then, from there, if you're doing a survey funnel, like you ask them a couple questions, usually the click-through rate will be really high, like on, page 2 or 3, if they're just clicking through on like really basic questions. And then the next thing that you want to focus on is just your ad copy on the call to action page. And, that's going to be the next major needle mover for the conversion rate of your landing page. It's basically, what's your call to action on the call to action page? Is it compelling enough to get people to click through, so on and so forth. So somebody asked, you always collect emails for your lead gen campaign. So No, so lately we've been not collecting emails, and the reason why is because email marketing has become like almost like prohibitively difficult as an affiliate because the platforms that you would collect your emails in, the ESPs, the email service providers like Aweber or there's bigger ones like Constant Contact or Mailchimp. They all basically hate affiliate marketing, so they really don't want to be working with people that are like collecting email leads like that and then like cross promoting different affiliate offers. They're basically really not friendly towards affiliates. So you could try to skirt around it by, you know, basically playing it small and like spreading it out across a lot of accounts. But as soon as you start sending out more than like 10,000 emails a day, they're going to be like really scrutinizing everything that you do and shutting down your accounts. So we used to play this game. We used to have an email list that was north of like 5 million people that was spread out across 15 different ESP accounts. And every day we would try to email out all these people. And it just turned into a nightmare. Like, all of those accounts inevitably got shut down. Nobody really wanted to work with the affiliate data, even though it's all legit opt-in data. Like it's, people putting in their information on our site to get contacted about something. Then when we reach out to them, we're treated like we're like some spammer or something. It's like, no, this is our site. Like people opted into this. But anyways, I digress. But to me, it's not worth really collecting data. Like it just slows down the whole campaign. And especially if you're trying to spend huge amount of money, it's just not going to work out. So like if you're trying to spend like $100,000 a day and you would be collecting like 100,000 emails a day. It's like you would be probably the biggest mailer on any one of these platforms, like a Aweber or a Constant Contact or something like that. So they're going to scrutinize everything that you do, and there's also an opportunity cost. Like if you're asking for customers' data in your funnel before you send them to an offer, I mean, you're not going to get like a perfect opt-in rate. Like you're probably going to see maybe about a 50% opt-in rate on somebody putting in like their email or whatever in your funnel before you send them to an offer. And there's an opportunity cost there because those 50 people that clicked away because they didn't want to give up their information just yet, those 50% of people could have been people that went to the offer and converted. So we've seen higher revenue by not collecting data in the funnel and just sending them directly to the offer, whether it be a lead form or having them call into a call center or something like that. I'm done playing the games with these ESPs. Like, I've just been shut down too many times over the years to even have it, to even bother with it anymore. So the other option is to set up your own mail servers and whatnot, but it's really, really a challenge to like maintain an inbox rate with those. If you're trying to warm up IPs that are cold and inbox things consistently, it's really challenging and usually only successfully done with like a small amount of leads. And I mean, there's people out there that make it work, but it's just not my game. I mean, we're paid traffic experts. I mean, we've done the whole email thing. We've been the biggest mailers on all these platforms before. They've treated us like crap. So I don't know, man. We're just on to bigger and better things, and we're finding it a lot easier to scale and a lot easier to make money when we just run directly to the offer through our landing page. We don't collect any customer data, and we just make as much money as we possibly can right there on the front end when a user visits our ad and clicks on the lander. So Jim asks, what CPC do you expect on this ACA offer from the YouTube ad? So I'm seeing my clicks come in at about 90 cents. So I'm seeing about a $6 CPM. So that's $6 to reach 1,000 people. And my CPC is under $1 now. So the CPC started kind of high, like a few bucks. And then as the pixels warmed up, it's gotten better. And, there's still certain aspects of the campaign that I'm trying to, improve, like the lander. Still improving the ad itself, of course. That's always a work in progress. But yeah, if you're interested in the ACA, just reach out to me on Skype. I can share with you some ad examples and some lender example, above and beyond what I've shared publicly on the YouTube channel. So what ROI are we seeing? So we're seeing a pretty good ROI, like north of 100% right now. Granted that ROI might drop as we push this to a higher budget. But yeah, I mean, right now it's looking pretty good. So, our team right now is doing like 5 to 10 grand a day on the ACA stuff. We've got some affiliates that are doing very well on the ACA. And yeah, we're just looking to scale it up. So this ACA wasn't really on our radar until about like a month ago or 2 months ago or so. But it's where I'm seeing like most of the demand as far as like big budgets of call centers wanting to buy a lot of calls, and other areas of like Medicare, like the caps have been really tight, and there just hasn't really been as much like scaling potential there. So we're looking at ACA like it's the top opportunity. So Jim asked, did you spy on any ads? So yeah, absolutely. So before I launch any ad campaign for any vertical, I always spy on the ads. So I have somebody on my team that does this for me. Basically what I have them do is I'll have them look on the YouTube spy tool. So there's a spy tool called VidTow for YouTube. And then also I have them look at the spy tool for Facebook, which is AdSpy. That's the spy tool that we use. And before I run any campaign, I have somebody on my team make a file for me of all the best competitor ads that are like obvious affiliate ads. And, for the most part, a lot of these ads are going to be like wildly uncompliant because a lot of affiliates out there are just like dirty. And, a lot of these ads that you see on the spy tool like are just like so not compliant. So that's something that you want to keep an eye out for. Like when I was researching like what competitor affiliates were running for the ACA, I saw all sorts of like really aggressive stuff. Like at the ACA, it's just like this government subsidized health insurance program, but people were like running these ads that said, like, here's how I paid for my groceries this month. And like, I got this spending card and I don't know, just all sorts of stuff that wasn't even like related to health insurance, but then they were still trying to like direct it back into like a health insurance offer. And I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I think that that's definitely not like a legitimate angle at all for the health insurance, like free groceries or a spending card or anything like that. That might have been like semi-legitimate for Medicare for, basically like some Medicare providers would offer this like flex card where people could like, traditionally it was just used to like pay for like copays, over the counter medication copays. But affiliates went as far as to say that like the flex card could be used for like buying groceries with, which is just false. And then, they took that same angle and brought it over to ACA, which is just completely like not legitimate. Like there is no flex card, there is no free groceries. So you just got to be careful. Like, I mean, that kind of stuff could really like ruin a buyer relationship. Like if a buyer was listening to my calls and everyone was calling in, like asking about free groceries, like that might completely like burn and tarnish the buyer relationship permanently. So you want to be very, very careful, like what ads you're going to use on the spy tool and make sure that any angles that you're running are legitimate. The most important thing as an affiliate is maintaining your buyer relationships. You want to keep your ads compliant. You want to keep your buyers happy so that you can grow and scale and, not burn bridges. It's really important. So yeah, you want to avoid that. And then another thing that you might see for the ACA are these like Biden angles. So like I saw ads that said like Biden just announced this relief package for Americans making under X amount a year. And again, like you can do a soft political angle with ACA because it is a government subsidized health insurance program, but I would not go as far as saying that Biden just released like some relief package or anything like that, because then it just sounds like people are getting like stimulus checks and that's going to really like tarnish the quality of your calls and piss off buyers and burn bridges and ruin relationships. So I guess affiliates have this mindset where they want to run really aggressive because they want to get the cheapest cost they possibly can. But what they don't realize is that this is a marathon, not a sprint. I mean, you might get 150% ROI for a day or two running 20 calls a day, but as soon as they listen to those calls, they're going to cut off your traffic. They're going to kill the campaign for you. They're not going to let you scale. They might just tell you to get lost, and you've lost a buyer and burned a bridge. And this goes for working with networks too. So we've had so many instances where affiliates have like done this kind of stuff on our affiliate network, and it's just not a good look. I mean, it's not a good look for anyone. The best thing that you can do is stay compliant, because that's how you scale, right? Like, you're not going to get these big caps. Like, you're not going to be able to drive like thousands of billable calls per day to an offer and run like 50, 100K a day budgets if you're going behind a buyer's back or running angles that they don't like or anything like that. So anyways, yeah, if you're doing spying on a spy tool, just be really careful about like what ads you're going to model, because a lot of stuff that you find out that other affiliates are running like could get you in trouble. Okay. So anyways, I think that's all for today. So let me know if you have any questions. Can hang out for a couple more minutes. So yeah, if you're interested in working with us as an affiliate, I'll put a link in the description below where you can apply for our affiliate network, or you can reach out to me on Skype. My Skype address is tdayskype123. So anyways, guys, I truly believe that affiliate marketing is one of the best business models for anyone trying to make money online. There really is like no easier business model to start for somebody that, all you need to do is just learn basic skills like writing ad copy and media buying. And, you don't need to own any products. You don't need to own your own call centers. You don't need to own, you don't need to have customer service teams. You just need to be able to come up with good ads and run traffic to other people's offers. And this is a huge, huge opportunity, and will be for a long time. So anyways, yeah, reach out to us. I'm looking forward to working together and getting to know you guys. And anyway, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up here. So yeah, anyways, yeah, so Jim asks, I'm not finding any ads by spying on Power Ad Spy. Do you recommend VidTow? Yeah, so VidTow is the spy tool that we recommend for Google, for YouTube, and then Ad Spy for Facebook. Anyways, that's all for today, and I'll see you in the next one.